A lot of people be asking themselves in their 20s, what's the perfect job, or what's the job that's gonna leave me with success, money, or what's the job that can leave you with good money and you're not wasting your time. Hi, my name's Lele, and today we're gonna be talking about the best to the worst jobs that I worked in between my 20s. I feel like I'm the perfect person to be able to talk about this because I have a list. Right here you can see a whole list. Like I literally worked all these jobs, like all these places. Each place you see on this list, I worked at. Okay, let me remind you. Okay, I don't think I've talked to you about my history. I lived in Texas for the beginning of my college years, and then I moved back to Puerto Rico, where I'm from. So that's why you're gonna see, places from here, Puerto Rico, and places over there in Texas. First place that I'm gonna say that I had the best experience, and we're gonna start with the best experience, and then we'll go to the next best experience, best job that I ever had. My first one, Cece's. Cece's Pizza was in Plano, Texas, and to this day, I feel blessed that I worked there. I worked there for about a year. I was in 11th grade, and I remember that it was one of the best jobs that I ever had because none of the people were. I didn't have many. I didn't have people like judge me or look at me funny. Thank God, because I'm most like as I got older, I got more discriminated when people knew that I was Latina. So at the time, when I was in high school, I didn't got judged, thankfully. But here in Puerto Rico, that's a different story, and we'll leave that for another video. But yes, on Cece's Pizza, I would say I was a cashier, and I only had to make sure that everybody's taken care of, like on the, you know, with their orders and like when they walk in, like you're basically the greeter. So I would say yes, that's one of my best jobs that I ever had. And the next one, I also love this job. I was here for about 3 years, and it's Paxson. Paxson, the clothing store. Yes, they have the best clothes. I was obsessed with the 50% off that they give you. You only have until 5 pieces of clothing that you can have 50% off. But hey, that is a deal. And the next one, I would say it was in a Hotel San Juan here in Puerto Rico. Yeah, it was a good job. I was 18. I was making a lot of money, and it was in a restaurant that they sold pizza and bar until 4 a.m. So I remember going like leaving my job at 4 a.m. with a pocket full of cash. So if you ask me if you're looking for a job and you're young and you have the energy, like a server is one of the best jobs that you can get. And especially if you're looking into tourist areas. So always, try to look into that. And if you're a person that's bilingual, that's even better for you. The next one was McDonald's. I worked in McDonald's when I was young and now in the ending of my 30s. Like, so I was there at 19 and at 29. So it was really funny and awakening because my first experience with McDonald's was pretty good. I was actually like one of the it was in Texas in Austin, and I was one of the employees of the month. And they even put my picture, like me being like my first month working in there. That was exciting. And the one here in Puerto Rico, working in there last year, it was an experience because they even made me take out the trash, and I saw like a whole line full of men, and they were like, "Hey, yeah, can you take out like these heavy trash bags and come back?" And I was like, okay, I did it. So I didn't ask for help. And the next one that I worked in Austin, Texas was Flex Brew House. I'm not gonna say much of because I did went through good and bad things in this place, but I don't want to get, sued or any type of problems with anybody. So I'm just gonna say, if it's good or bad. And this one I'm gonna say it's a medium because I did made a lot of friends, but at the same time, when you make a lot of friends, there's a lot of gossip, and I got in trouble. And I got in trouble with something that I didn't do. So that's why I said good and bad. But yeah, we can leave that for another video. Leave the comment below if you want to know that story. The next one is IHOB. I worked at IHOB for 6 to 8 months in Austin, and one of the best jobs as a server. I mean, it's quick money, and you work in like you come in early and you get off early. I have zero complaints, and I actually got fired from that job. That's my first job that I ever got fired, and it was because I didn't want to go in. Like to be honest, I didn't want to come into work that day, and I texted my boss, and she's like, "No, like you can't do that." And she's right. Like you can't be just missing out a day of work just because. Next one is Forever 21. Forever 21 was a good job. I liked it. They treat me really, really well. Most of the managers were gays, and I best experience I ever had. Like they were really nice to me, and even if I was Latina, like that was they were like, "Oh yes, girl!" Like so that I'm never gonna forget that. They were really nice. And David Buster's, it was also a good server job. I made a lot of money. David Buster's can be a good server job if you're in the sports area, because if you're in the area, I'm just being real with you. If you're in an area that in dining, it's a lot of big groups, big families, sometimes they won't tip you good. I'm just being real with you. Because we all going through it. We all, and hey, nothing against families or big families. It's just that sometimes I would notice that they can't, they not that they can't, but they wouldn't tip well. So, and that's okay, because I mean, I ain't gonna complain about that. It's a job. Claire's was a good job. I also didn't last there long because I felt it was too boring for me. Because I just had to sit in the store and help people if they needed help. And I'm more like a active person. And I also worked at Movie House. And Movie House is a if you've never heard of it, it's in Dallas, Texas. And well, Preston. Oh my gosh, I forgot where exactly it's located, but I believe it's around Dallas. And yeah, it was really fun. I also went through stuff, good and bad stuff in that place, but I left feeling positive because after that I moved to Puerto Rico, so my life changed completely. You have to go through these experiences for to be able to have a little bit more knowledge and ser sabio. I don't know how to say it in English, you can look it up. Say once I flew to Puerto Rico and moved in with my mother, I quickly found a job as a barista, and I noticed that I was very passionate about being a barista. So I went and took a course and kept working for different coffee shops. So I'm not gonna say the names because they're in Spanish and I'm talking in English, but they're basically three different coffee shops that I worked at. That the first one I had to leave the job because they closed down and it was COVID. And the other two, I would say that it was just my decision of changing the job because either the managers were too, how can I explain this? Hmm. Like the managers were really taking advantage of you. They would just drop you off the keys and Here you go, take care of the business, adios. And I feel like I've seen that in a lot of coffee shops. A lot of coffee shops are owned by people that are not there. So, and that's very sad because once I got to learning about it, I just like my fantasy of being a barista just died. So I went back to some West Mortgage, which if you look it up, it's basically a place where about loans and the houses and all that. And yeah, it was a good job. It was a good job, but I am not a person that likes to sit in a computer for hours. Like I can do it for my film, but I cannot do it for, you know, like for other people or not my thing. So, the next job was pasticeria. See, this is why I can't speak in Spanish. But pasticeria was a restaurant that they sold pizza. Now that I'm writing this, I noticed that I worked in a lot of pizza places. Hey, I mean, it's where the money's at. Because that also La Pasticeria was a good place. The location, it was right by the airport, and it didn't have the best management, but I did make good money with the tourists, and they were really nice. Like I believe me, like the best feeling is catching people when they are on vacation. So that's why I say tourists. And Airbnb, I also work for Airbnb, and Airbnb was very interesting because I actually saw how much they make. And here in Puerto Rico, Airbnbs are a full pocket of cash. Like they leave you really good money. And it's very, for me, it was very awakening because I see a lot of people here struggling with how they're living, and just a millionaire just comes here and buy a property and hey, everything's okay. That's just like, I don't know how you live with yourself, but okay. Because there's a lot of people going through a lot. We can leave that for another video. And so the next one was oof, Mario. I'm not gonna say much because, like I said, I said the name, but I left with back problems, and that's the only thing I'm gonna say. That it literally, I only worked there for 1 day, but I wanted to put it on the list because that is not okay. You do that to your employees, and I don't know if I signed anything or whatever, but yeah, like I feel it for employees from hotels because you really have to leave that place spotless, like extra spotless, and I understand why, but how is your back doing? Like mine for the first day, I was like, nope, this is not for me. And that's one of the last jobs that I worked that I was like, no. People that work there for years, and if you see their posture, I could notice that they were there for years, and it's very, very sad how they're, because I know they work there because it's what they know, and nobody's built for that stress or for that, that pressure. So that's why I challenge myself to really spread the message, especially to young people. Be smart about it. Don't be working to just anybody, and learn from a young age to say no. Like if you're in a job right now that you feel like you're giving way too much, sit down and talk to your manager or change jobs. So I do this with great intention, and I hope this help you open your mind a little bit of how it really works, and I hope that this can like work for you for the best, because I won't want to see anybody suffer. So my name's Letta, and we talk about manifestation, alignment, and self-worth. We make videos every day, so we'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.